Welcome back to Doing Time with Dan for some gadget reviews. Today it's all about audio equipment. Now you know that the sound makes the picture. Without good audio, your videos, your movies are practically ruined. And I needed to upgrade my gear, so I went with the RØDE brand. I have some of their video microphones that I use on location, but I wanted to step it up a notch. So I went with their shotgun mic, the NTG4. This is a great unit. We're going to see it in just a few seconds. Of course, you can't just carry the microphone around naked, either you or the microphone. You need something to put it inside. And that's where the blimp suspension system comes in handy. This thing works really good, and we're going to take a look at that as well. Finally, you want to get the microphone up close to your subject matter, so that's where the boom pole comes in. We're going to take a look at these three in sequence. We'll start with the boom pole, then we'll move on to the microphone, and finally, the blimp suspension system. So let's get right to it. Okay, the boom pole, pretty simple device, has the RØDE logo on it, nothing fancy there. It does have a rubber mount here near the stud, and you just loosen these up, extend the pole, tighten it back up, hold it close to your subject. You can mount the microphone inside the blimp at the end of this boom pole and get up nice and close to your subject. It also comes with these Velcro stays to keep your cable organized. That's very handy. I got a few more at Staples. Keeps the cable nice and tight and organized. You don't want that cable getting in the way. So the boom pole, not a whole lot to talk about. All right, let's get on to the exciting stuff. That would be the microphone. We're going to do a little cut here so we can organize the studio. Okay, we're back for the RØDE audio gear review. We're moving on to the NTG4 shotgun microphone. They call it a directional condenser microphone, and that's exactly what it is. So here you have it. It makes no sense to unbox this. Inside the box, you'll find the instructions and a few accessories that I'll show you, but nothing exciting about taking it out of the box. The build quality is quite sturdy, I found. Nice aluminum housing here. Unscrews to reveal a battery compartment. You can put a 1.5 volt AA in there and power the microphone, or it can also be powered through the XLR jacks. This is an XLR microphone. I have the XLR power supply built into my camera, so I usually power it for my camera, but it's nice to have the battery backup. Along with the microphone, you get a nice little pouch to put it in to protect it. That works pretty good. And then you have a foam windscreen. This might be all you need for some indoor locations or some outdoor where it's not too windy, but that's why we have the blimp suspension system. We're going to get to that in just a second. Also with the microphone, you get a mic stand clip. I found this to be completely useless. They do say in the manual how tight this connection is when you slide the microphone is, and it is very tight. It almost feels like you're going to break the microphone as you take it in and out. So I simply do not use it. However, for your application, it might come in handy. And there is an adapter bushing, depending on the size, that comes in here. Another thing that I don't really need because I'm putting it inside that blimp. Okay, now let's move on to the blimp itself. It's quite a large unit, as you can see here. It is great. It's got the plastic housing here with audio fabric covering, and this really protects the microphone and keeps some of the wind noise off to begin with. You want to protect your microphones when you're on location because if they get banged around, the next thing you know, they're going to be broken. So each end unscrews. It's about a turn and a half. Allows you access inside to mount your microphone. And there is a handle here. You might not want to put this on your boom pole. If you're doing a close location shot, you can just handheld this and adjust the angle however you want to, and then clamp it down. Very nice. And you can slide the blimp itself off, and you can see here is the suspension system. Now, they do have an XLR cable built into the handle, so you don't have to worry about setting one up for yourself. These rubber bands, it comes with extra mounts in different sizes depending on which microphone you're using. So that whole rig right there is quite a nice development. You can adjust the position of these to support your microphone however you want. And that's not all. Some more accessories that come with it, which I found to be very handy. Number one is the tool to adjust the location of those brackets. And then you have a brush. You say, well, what do you have a brush for with your Zeppelin? Or blimp, sorry. Well, that's because it also comes with the dead wombat cover. You can brush this cover and keep it very fluffy. That'll keep the wind noise down. And in just a few seconds, you're going to see this out on location at my local airport doing its job. All right, so let's put the system together, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we're back, and I've put the microphone inside the mounting brackets. You can see the whole thing complete now. I'll do some close-ups so that you'll see how those rubber bands work. They're very effective. Do a nice mount isolation there so you won't hear any banging around on your audio recordings. Once you have it in this configuration, you can put the rest of the blimp together. You can slide it right over top. Nice and easy like that. Fits pretty closely to those brackets, so you want to be careful. And then there is a pass-through on the back here where you can put the cable in so that you don't have to worry about the cable having a spot to flow. Put each end on. And there you have it. Now you can screw this onto the top of your boom pole, plug in your camera or your digital recorder, or however you're going to record the sound, and you're ready to get some great audio. We're going to head out to the airport, and you'll see this thing in action. The helicopter, I'm pointing the microphone directly at it. The wind is blowing about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so you can see the fur moving on the dead wombat that covers the suspension system for the microphone. Okay, that test was easy enough because the helicopter is very loud, so it overpowered maybe the wind noise. Next test, you're going to see a guy open and close a gate, and listen for the sound of the latch clicking. Even though the wind is blowing, the sound of the latch is very crisp. Here we go. Okay, next I went inside. I want to record something that's a little bit more subtle, so I went over to the soda and candy machines. Check this one out. All in all, I've had really good use with the RØDE NTG4 shotgun microphone, the blimp suspension system, and the boom pole. I've only put it to use on about 5 or 6 videos, but it will be going through its paces as we continue with the Doing Time with Dan series. So all in all, I give this entire setup 5 stars here because it's working great and getting that audio that I really need to make these videos that much better. Thanks for stopping by here at Doing Time with Dan. Stay tuned for more gadget reviews, information about Aruba, and fun stuff from around the world.
So the results yesterday were quite good, but I discovered that I was recording in mono, and that was probably because I was set to record channel 1 as an input. I didn't have anything in channel 2, but it does let you mix the channels, which I think is the same as the stereo mono setting on my other pre-microphone, or I think it's called a pre-microphone, the pre-amplifier or whatever it was called, but it was did the same function as the XLR inputs for this camera too. And you had the option of feeding in each channel individually or having them both come in as stereo, even if it was just one that was being recorded. So I am now getting close to 0 decibels, and I am probably 2 feet away from the microphone. I'm going to turn the input up. I'm going to put it at its maximum and then stand across the room and see how that works. So yeah, I'm probably 4 or 5 feet away now, and now I'm going to go all the way across the room. And I will be curious to see if I pick up the washing machine in the background, because now I'm going to turn it down the hallway because I'm curious to see just how far this will pick me up. And I can speak very softly because I can see the output. It's really neat, actually. Now getting the refrigerator, unfortunately. However, this microphone shouldn't pick up noises that are behind it. So let's see. So now I'm all the way down the hall. I can still see that it's picking up my voice, so that's great. So this would have been about as far as Erica was. when she did Truth or Consequences. So I am talking in a raised voice. And now I'm back in the hallway. I've turned the attenuator back on because now I want to, again, this is how I would talking into the microphone as if I was holding it up to myself. And that's how I would interview someone. So now I'm going to go ahead and test the microphone outdoors. There's a slight breeze going and there is traffic behind me. So I'm just testing to see how the sound is in relation to when I hold the microphone as a news reporter. It looks like it's still set at maximum as far as input volume goes. And so now I am going to just double check that, and then I'm going to test the sound at various distances to see how well it picks up. Okay, so actually wasn't at maximum, so it is now. And like I said, there's a little bit of a breeze blowing, so I'm going to be very curious to see how this turns out. So I'm going to go in increments of 3 paces to be roughly 10 feet. Okay, so I'm about 10 feet away now, and this is an audio test. I am speaking in a normal voice. Okay, this is about 20 feet away, and I'm still talking in a just slightly raised voice, just to talk over the traffic, literally. Okay, here I am about 30 feet away. It's about 40 feet. It's about 50 feet now. So from about 60 feet with a bit of a wind. Okay, so now I've returned the volume back to normal, which is 5 on the scale. It's halfway. And now I'm gonna play news reporter and see how well the microphone picks up with the slight breeze and the traffic. I'm turning the attenuator on. And now I'm gonna go ahead and release the microphone. Okay, so this is what it would be like if I were a news reporter giving the news and I had to just be outdoors reporting live from a scene. So I can see that the volume control is about right for the sound of my voice as I hold it closer and closer. So this is going to be very interesting to review later. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and walk back to the car and put the tripod back. And then I'm going to go and just take some video footage and test different sound with the microphone on. So there was one other variable to check out with this microphone, and it has something called a high pass filter, which supposedly eliminates some of the low frequency noises that it describes, like rumbles and things like that. When you wish to remove low frequency noise that is not part of your intended sound source. Remember, however, the tonal characteristics will be affected by this, so it is important that you listen to the sound with and without the HPF in circuit. High pass filter. So, again, this is with the attenuator on at mouth level, as you can see on the screen. I am right up to the microphone, speaking right in, and it really does make a difference to talk right into the end of it.
So today we're testing the RØDE NTG4 versus the hammer and angle mic, the largest one that they sell. Today we're testing the RØDE NTG4 versus the hammer and angle mic, the largest